Hello, I'm Brea Parnell.
And I'm Johanna. Welcome to TMN Television on March 9th.
Tonight, we look at a recent fundraiser from the ACLU.
Later, we see how the Truman are preparing for their competitions.
These stories and more on TMN Television. You don't want to miss this. The Truman State Student Government hosted a campus-wide forum addressing the financial situation of the state of Missouri and Truman on March 6th. University President Sue Thomas, Truman alum and Executive Director on the Council of Public Higher Education Paul Wagner, along with political science professor Candy Young, spoke about the recent budget cuts to the state and the higher education system. Kyra Cooper, External Affairs Chair of Student Government, says this was one of the better turnouts she has seen for a forum in her time at Truman. Cooper also says this turnout can be accredited to the students' desire to be informed about these financial issues. She says that she wants students who may not have been in attendance to know that the community itself will benefit by working as one cohesive unit as the budget begins to change.
A very tight budget, and so in order to address that, we really do all have to kind of band together and help Truman overcome the current situation, not only in the state of Missouri but with our own personal budget.
Various socio-political groups on campus held a fundraiser for the American Civil Liberties Union Tuesday on the Mall. TMN's Brea Parnell has the story.
Truman Students for Middle East Peace, Muslim Students Association, Heil, and Students for a Democratic Society hosted the fundraiser for the ACLU from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. All of the organizations sold different items relating to countries in the Middle East. MSA sold henna tattoos and chai tea. Heil sold challah bread, and SMEP had their annual falafel sale. President of SMEP, Megan Krause, says the four organizations came together at the suggestion of Heil and MSA. Krause says the goal of the fundraiser was to raise money for ACLU as well as raise awareness of Middle Eastern countries affected by the recent immigration ban.
Obviously, we wanted to raise money for the ACLU, but the main thing that we were looking for was to raise awareness on campus for these sorts of issues and what we believe in.
The fundraiser was in response to the travel bans signed by President Trump in the last 2 months and more recently 2 days ago. The first ban blocked immigration from 7 Muslim-majority countries. The second ban blocks migrants from 6 nations, excluding Iraq. Secretary of the MSA, Emma Schaus, says MSA was very excited to work with all the other organizations on this project. Schaus says the ban is something the organization feels very strongly about and are willing to fight against.
I personally know people at home and then here at Truman who this is affecting their ability to go home and see their family, or the family coming over and seeing them. And it's just kind of horrifying to think about not being able to see your family, not being able to go home.
The fundraiser was a big success, and the organizations are looking forward to having events like it in the future. The immigration issue is a topic that affects everyone regardless of background. Both Schaus and Krause encourage students to get more involved in the conversation of immigration and to educate themselves further. For TMN News, I'm Brea Parnell. Coming up, we look at a recent bill proposal.
First, let's take a look at this week's forecast.
All right, you ready for some baseball trivia?
Let's do it.
What year produced the most no-hit games in the big leagues?
7 no-hitters in 1990.
Wow, that's right. Now a question that's not trivial. How many children will witness bullying this year?
Huh.
The answer? 3 out of 4.
75%?
That's
Wow.
right. How many of them will say something?
Kids want to help, but don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov.
challenge against the president's most recent travel ban has been filed in Hawaii. A federal judge has already agreed to hear it, according to CNN. The new travel ban will go into effect on March 16th and now bans from 6 Muslim-majority countries instead of the original 7. The attorneys who filed the challenge said the ban would inflict damage on the Hawaii economy and several other industries and institutions, according to CNN. The judge will hear the case on March 15th, the day before the ban goes into effect.
United States House Speaker Paul Ryan and other Republican representatives recently introduced a health care bill that will potentially replace the Affordable Care Act implemented under former President Barack Obama's administration. The bill does not outline any cost estimates or coverage details. However, the bill does come with implications that may impact Truman students. According to NPR, the bill will allow people under the age of 26 to stay on their parents' health insurance plans, but will prevent Medicaid from paying for health services, including abortions at Planned Parenthood. According to ABC News, the most pushback is coming from within the Republican representatives, but there has also been resistance from Democratic representatives. In addition, the American Medical Association, the American Hospital Association, and the AARP have all spoken out against the proposed bill because of its rejection of Medicaid.
President Donald Trump's administration recently rescinded former President Barack Obama's federal guidance in support of allowing transgender students at schools to use the bathroom or locker room of their gender identity. While this guidance was not mandated by law, according to the United States Department of Justice, it provided information for governing bodies to use as indicators if schools were complying with their legal obligations, according to NPR.org. Schools that failed to comply with the guidance were subject to loss of federal funds. With the residence of the guidance, state governments now have the freedom to dictate their own transgender policies with minimal government interference. Jamie Ball, Truman Title IX coordinator, sent out an email last week stating there will be no change to any of the policies at Truman protecting transgender students. Ball says the current policy allows students to use the bathroom they feel most comfortable using.
Tau Lambda Sigma will host a Girl Love Week beginning March 20th. The group's goal is to empower women through a week of events, including a Women in Gender Studies conference, a panel for middle and high school students about transitioning to college, girl-on-girl hate and gender social norms, a discussion about how to prevent sexual assault and abuse, and a performance by slam poet Sierra DeMulder.
Kirksville Chamber of Commerce is hosting a candidate forum Tuesday, March 21st for citizens interested in learning more about the candidates for the 2017 municipal elections. The forum will be recorded and broadcasted several times the week of the election. On the ballot for the April 4th elections are City Council members Rick Steele, Jerry Mills, and Kevin Alm. The forum will also provide information regarding the half-cent sales tax for the Parks and Recreation Department. Also on the ballot for the April 4th election.
Stay tuned for your Truman Sports Update.
We will be right back.
Kids will spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
As always, your Truman Sports Update is brought to you by Hardee's. The men's basketball team will continue their postseason on Saturday when they travel to Louisville, Kentucky to play in the NCAA Division II tournament. Truman will enter the game as the 7th seed in the Midwest region, matching up against Ferris State University. This will be the Bulldogs' first appearance in the tournament since 2006. Head coach Chris Foster says the chance to advance this far into the postseason has long been a goal for the program, with many seasons building up to this point.
Truman swimming teams began competition yesterday in the NCAA Division II swimming and diving championships. The Bulldogs had 1 swimmer from the men's team and 6 from the women's advance to the tournament. Evan Spencer earned the highest placing of the day at 17th in the individual medley. The tournament continues today with the finals starting at 6 p.m. This has been your Truman Sports Update brought to you by Hardee's.
Stay tuned after the break. We'll be right back.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it. I know. Come alive with the forest. The dad was cute.
You were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
The Truman Acapella Group looks to win big in the international competition for the Collegiate Acapella Semifinals team. TMN's Isaac Carmichael has the story.
Truman State's Truman Acapella Group will compete in the semifinals of the International Competition for Collegiate Acapella on March 25th in Bloomington, Indiana. In their nearly 20-year history, Truman have only advanced this far in the competition one other time. In their previous round, Truman tied for first place with the amateurs from Washington University in what was the first of 5 Midwest quarterfinal competitions. Reflecting on their current success, Truman director Alan Smith says this season definitely sets itself apart from previous years.
I think that we have had more time than in the past to sort of polish our set to perfection rather than past years in which we've sort of been rushing to do preparation at the last second. We definitely had more time to prepare.
As they represent their school in the competition, many members of Truman welcomed the opportunity to exercise their abilities. By exhibiting their talents on the same stage as more well-known universities, the group believes that this could lead to greater acknowledgement of the accomplishments of Truman State University on a larger scale. Social Chair David Stowers agrees and says the opportunity is representative of the time and dedication put forth to perfect their craft.
For me personally, it's really rewarding because we worked very hard for this. We put in a lot of time, a lot of hours, and it's cool to see that I am capable of this and that we as a group are capable of coming together and putting on a show that apparently is very much enjoyed.
Truman looks forward to representing their university in the upcoming semifinal round and hopes to gain even more recognition as they go up against some of the best schools and a cappella groups in the nation. If they advance, the group will compete in the finals on Broadway in New York City. For the Truman Media Network, I'm Isaac Carmichael.
Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. For complete news coverage, be sure to stay tuned to KTRM and pick up a copy of The Index. Also, check out our news content on tmn.truman.edu. Also, be sure to check out the new variety show Segments.
You can also follow TMN on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for breaking news updates. And if you missed part of our broadcast tonight, check out TMN TV on YouTube. From all of us at TMN, thank you for tuning in and have a wonderful spring break.